What if the story of Britain's rivers is no longer about what they give us, but what we choose to give back? Not extraction, not expansion, but reflection. Because along the Derwent, the question is no longer what the river can do for Britain, but what Britain will do for its rivers. Welcome to the making of Britain. The River Derwent rises in the Peak District and flows south through Derbyshire, passing towns and landscapes that reflect multiple layers of Britain's history. Unlike some of the rivers in this series, the Derwent does not dominate national narratives. It's not the largest nor the most internationally connected. And yet, it's precisely this scale that makes it significant. The Derwent allows a closer view, a way of seeing how rivers function within everyday landscapes, where industry, environment, and community intersect. The Derwent was one of the first rivers in Britain to be harnessed for large-scale industrial production. In the late 18th century, its steady flow and reliable gradient made it well suited to water-powered mills. At sites such as Cromford Mill, established by Richard Arkwright, the river became central to a new form of manufacturing. Water wheels converted the movement of the river into mechanical energy, powering machinery that produced textiles on an unprecedented scale. This was not simply an extension of earlier practices, it marked a shift towards industrial organisation, where production was concentrated, structured, and continuous. As you're still walking with me, can I be cheeky and ask you to drop me a like? It helps YouTube show this video to more people who may enjoy it. Thanks. The developments along the Derwent contributed to what is often described as the factory system. Workers were brought together in single location. Labour was organised around machinery and production followed a regular schedule. The river enabled this by providing a consistent source of power. Unlike wind, which varied, water could be managed and directed. Channels, weirs and mill races were constructed to control its flow. The Derwent became part of a designed system, where natural movement was integrated into industrial processes. This combination of environment and engineering shaped a new model of work. As mills developed along the Derwent, the surrounding landscape changed. Settlements grew around industrial sites. Housing was built for workers and the rhythm of daily life became tied to the operation of the mills. A worker living near Cromford would have experienced the river not as a distant feature, but as a constant presence, heard in the movement of water, seen in the structures that directed it, and felt in the routines it imposed. The Derwent was not just a source of power, it was part of a lived environment, shaping both work and community. Looking at the Derwent at this stage, it's clear that the river was being used intensively, its flow directed and controlled to serve industrial needs. When you consider this, how should such a relationship be understood? As innovation and exploitation, or as something in between? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this question sits at the centre of how we think about Britain's industrial past. Over time, the role of the Derwent began to change. As new sources of power emerged, particularly steam, reliance on water decreased. Mills declined or were repurposed, and the intense industrial use of the river lessened. What remained, however, was the landscape shaped by that earlier period. In the 20th and 21st centuries, sites along the Derwent have been recognised for their historical importance. The Derwent Valley Mills World Heritage Site represents one of the best preserved examples of early industrial development, providing insight into how the factory system emerged. As industrial use declined, attention shifted toward the environmental conditions of rivers like the Derwent. Pollution, habitat disruption, and changes to water flow had left lasting impacts. Efforts to address these issues reflect a broader change in perspective. Rivers began to be seen not only as resources, but as ecosystems requiring protection. This shift did not happen suddenly. It developed over time, influenced by scientific understanding, public awareness, and policy changes. The Derwent became part of this process, its condition monitored and its management adjusted to balance different needs. If you subscribe, there's a whole back catalogue of videos like this for you to enjoy. Today, the Derwent is managed through a combination of environmental regulation, local planning and conservation efforts. Water quality is monitored, habitats are protected and flood management strategies are implemented to reduce risks to communities. The river supports wildlife, recreation and local economies, but within a framework that aims to sustain it over the long term. This represents a different approach from earlier periods. The focus is not on maximising output, but on maintaining balance. The Derwent story reflects a broader pattern across Britain's rivers, from early use and industrial exploitation to environmental management and conservation. The relationship between people and rivers has evolved. The same river that once powered mills now supports ecosystems and communities in different ways. This does not erase the past, it builds upon it. The structures, settlements and systems created during earlier periods continue to shape what is possible today. Looking across this series, from the Thames to the Tweed, a pattern emerges. Rivers have shaped Britain in different ways, through trade, industry, culture and conflict. The Derwent brings these themes together, not because it encompasses all of them, but because it reflects a transition. The question is no longer simply how rivers can be used, but how they should be managed. This introduces a different kind of decision making, one that considers long-term impact as well as immediate benefit. If Britain was shaped by what its rivers provided, what will shape it next? What they are allowed to become, or what they are protected from? Because the future of Britain's rivers is not determined by geography alone. It depends on choices and on how the relationship between people and landscapes continues to evolve. And now YouTube has chosen this video for you to watch next. Have a look, I think you'll enjoy it. If you've dinged the bell, you'll be notified of all new episodes so you don't miss any. Thanks for walking a little further along the road that made Britain with me. Bye.